Just a few weeks ago, Lamar Jackson was all but gone from the Ravens, but the desperate signing of Odell just put an $18 million band-aid over the problem. It's no secret that Lamar and the Ravens have been at an impasse since he hurt his PCL last season, and there have been reports that Lamar's team and Baltimore's front office have been $100 million apart in contract negotiations. Last season was riddled with complaints that Lamar wasn't being surrounded with enough legitimate talent, and fans argued that offensive coordinator Greg Roman was unfit to get the job done. The Ravens brass knew that they had to do something big to signal their commitment to the former MVP. So what did they do? They signed a declining star with big brand recognition who hasn't played for a year and is coming off of his second ACL tear in 3 seasons. And they also guaranteed him $15 million out of that $18 million 1-year contract. After OBJ walked from Cleveland and was signed in LA, he definitely did look somewhat back to his old self, but it was a small serving size and he wasn't the number one option like he was when he was in New York and Cleveland. Odell had the ability to get lost in the shuffle with Cooper Kupp, who was having an unbelievable Triple Crown record-breaking receiving season. Needless to say, he was not the number one option in LA. Let's talk about the fit of Odell in Baltimore first. The Ravens are and have always been a team that works through the run game, and Lamar is their best running player. This means that Odell is going to have to turn into a premier blocker on the edge, and for a guy who has been as brittle as he has been throughout his career, that doesn't seem like a great recipe for availability throughout the season. There's also the question about the length of this contract. Unless this is just a major swing to pull off a big-time Super Bowl run this season, it doesn't really make sense. It made sense in LA to bring OBJ in because they already had an established team with a number one receiver and other supporting pieces. In Baltimore, that's not the case. They don't even know if Lamar will be around next year. And will Odell really help Baltimore get over the hump and get to a Super Bowl? I don't think so. I think that's an insane expectation to have. Baltimore could have signed other free agent receivers that would have better suited Baltimore's scheme and would have been able to create a solid rapport and chemistry with Jackson going into multiple seasons in the future. Allen Lazard got 4 years, $44 million from the Jets, and JuJu got 3 years, $25 million with just $16 million guaranteed from the Patriots. Either of those guys could have been effective with Lamar and would have been valuable as blockers in the Ravens' run-dominant scheme. You can debate all you want about Odell's potential for production over JuJu and Allen Lazard. His high end is definitely a lot higher than those two guys, but Lazard and JuJu are both in their mid-20s and played 15 games last season. Look at the decision critically. He's turning 31. He's had 2 ACL tears in the past 3 seasons. He forced his way out of Cleveland because he wasn't getting enough action. He didn't play at all last season. He's only played a full season twice out of his 8 years in the league, and he's now in a system that runs the ball 46% of the time. Lamar drew a line in the sand, and the Ravens knew they had to sign Odell or Lamar would legitimately walk. Rather than making a signing that would make the team better as a whole, they gambled on a big name that has had little to back up his hype in the last 4.5 years. Signing OBJ to this 1-year deal is like leasing a 10-year-old Mercedes for clout when you could have bought a newer Honda that you know is going to start up every time you put the key in. When Odell was coming off of his first ACL tear in Cleveland, you could definitely tell that he had lost a step to some degree. He wasn't the explosive, shifty guy that he was when he was younger, and now we're compounding the fact that he's 31 years old and is coming off of his second injury. I think it's unfair to expect that he's going to be coming back with the speed to be a true number one. Regardless of Odell's production and Lamar's performance in 2023, 2024 is a whole separate issue. The Ravens aren't winning the AFC this year, and I have my doubts that Odell will be productive enough in 2023 to the point where they'll want to bring him back in 2024 or 2025 on a multi-year contract. Unless Baltimore can exceed all expectations, Odell becomes an all-pro, and Lamar can take the Ravens on an improbable run to the Super Bowl, this signing was pointless. It was a mere attempt to prove to their MVP quarterback that they're willing to make a change, and they're willing to make signings that will support him. Again, if it works, maybe Lamar might be willing to make some concessions going forward with his contract if they know that they'll allocate those funds to players who can help him perform at a higher level. It's definitely an improvement from signing Dez Bryant and Deshaun Jackson as your answer to the passing game, but it still just seems like a stretch. The absolute worst case scenario in all of this is if Odell gets dinged up like he has so many times throughout his career. Now, the Ravens have one chance over the course of one season to get $15 million million worth of production from a receiver. The Ravens could have done a lot more with their money this offseason, and they could have secured pieces that would have helped the Ravens and Lamar out for years to come. But right now, Baltimore is full of uncertainty. They have a former MVP left to try and prove his worth with an aging former star on a big contract and a head coach who might be entering hot seat territory. My prediction, the Ravens go 10-7, Odell plays in 14 games, and he records 900 yards receiving. He won't break 1,000, and Lamar will have to continue to be Superman week in and week out just to get those 10 wins. If I were Lamar, I would have left this team for a more promising offensive core. I get that Baltimore has created the system around him, but it doesn't seem like they're actively equipping him to become a better passer the way that the Bills have with Josh Allen. Josh Allen was not a great passer at Wyoming, but they surrounded him with weapons. They got him Stephon Diggs, and they've created an unbreakable bond with each other. Who's Lamar Jackson's equivalent of that? Hollywood Brown? Well, he's gone. He walked away. They need a true number one, and Odell is not the answer. Baltimore is providing Lamar with zero security, and their solutions to his issues have been to provide him with aging, declining stars way past their prime. The Odell signing is a better attempt, but it's still not getting the job done. And more than anything, for $15 million, the production is not going to match that number. Thank you so much for watching. This is more of a up-to-date video than I've done in the past. I'm thinking about doing more of these as more NFL news drops, but I still want it to be a higher production quality, something that's entertaining for you guys. Thank you so much. Recently just got over 50 subscribers. We're in the 60s now, which is very small, but we're working there together, and the feedback and the sharing, the liking, all those things have been amazing. So I just ask that you guys can continue to do that as we build this out, and just thank you so much. If you have any video ideas or anything else, any questions, comments, then please drop them in the comments, and we will see you later.